shoot nowadays.
Let's do it.
Live from New York.
Let's go out with a bang, baby. Let's do it.
I thought you were talking about Serbia, USA for a second.
No,
You're talking about your last day until predictions week.
Yeah. The rest of us are working.
We'll be here tomorrow and the whole next week. And then we're on vacation, and then it's predictions week. But you're not going to see Brew for
until predictions week.
Somewhere in Asia.
It's first things first. Nope, we missed it. His top 100 ranks. 2024, he's fourth last year.
There they are.
There we go. One. 2022, he was eighth and he won the Super Bowl. So basically, if he's fourth, he wins the Super Bowl.
I mean, the thing is this.
Year,
yeah, I mean, every year he does great. There's not really a correlation.
He does really well, more of the story. Are you buying this doesn't bother Mahomes?
Oh, it definitively bothers him. And I think I can prove it to you guys.
Oh, good.
So, for the three of us, we all occasionally miss time when the other people are here. For Brew, it's because much like Rob Parker, everyone on The Odd Couple is trying to touch every continent in the world, and Brew needs to. Brew's got something to check off the list. Wilds, it's very rare, but occasionally likes to sample, New York's favorite dog-friendly hotels and to see which the best are. He's, has a little newsletter. And for me, it's really only for one thing ever. I play cards. I play poker, and I play poker at times against some of the best players in the world.
Okay.
I'm not saying I am, but I play against some of the best. And in order to have any chance in those environments, you have to be able to pick up on tells.
Oh.
And my friend Patrick Mahomes has a tell.
You got it.
I think I'm going to be able to show it to you guys.
Huh.
So listen to this again, and then we will play for you also when he was asked about the Kermit the Frog thing, and see if you notice anything, and then I'll tell you what you're looking for. So here's Mahomes yesterday when asked about not being number 1, 2, or 3 on this. All right, and so now watch him when asked about Kermit the Frog, and most notably watch his head. Watch what he's doing, and then we'll play them for you side by side. Play the Kermit the Frog thing, please. He wants to say something and can't say it. He just shakes his head left and right. He is preventing himself from saying what he really wants. He's not being funny like he is sometimes with the media. He's just shaking his head.
He's saying,
left and right.
Do that
no, I went through. I watched this entire press conference, and then I rewatched the Kermit the Frog thing one. And the only time he does that is when he's not saying what he wants to say.
It makes sense.
And definitively, it definitively bothers him. And it also definitively helps the Kansas City Chiefs. Because while the last, his NFL ranking has been different, the last time he was truly doubted was after the 2021 season when they played Josh Allen, beat him, but people said Josh Allen was better in the game, and then lost to Joe Burrow, and they lost Tyreek Hill. And he responded to that, in my opinion, we can show it to you, with the single best season of his career. I do think it was better than his opening season. He had playoffs and regular season combined, 6,300 yards in just the regular season, the all-time NFL record for total yards, 52 touchdowns, 13 picks, a nearly flawless season despite a loss to the Colts that Brew brought up for 2 consecutive years after it happened, if you remember.
About that.
And so that was the last time he was truly doubted. And I'm not saying Brew is truly doubted right now, but there is an extra chip on his shoulder, and I know it bothers him, and I think it helps the Chiefs.
Well, first of all, excellent with picking up the tell.
Yeah.
It's surprising you don't win more at cards.
Okay.
I mean, the way you picked that up.
I mean, right? I should pick better games, to be honest.
I agree with you that it bothers me. He's a competitor. So it bothers me. How many times have we heard athletes, or to be honest, people in any field of endeavor, say, you want the respect of your colleagues and competitors, right? Athletes will tell you, it's great that the media and the fans think you're the best player in the league or whatever, but you really want to hear it. The greatest is when you hear it from the other players because they know exactly what you're going through. And he's probably like, I don't think he's losing sleep over it, but it's to a point where you could be like, what do I have to do? I win the Super Bowl like half the time, half the years I'm playing. I've got 2 MVPs, 3 Super Bowl championships. I won last year with a bad receiving core, right? Them dropping balls left and right. What do I have to do? And so I agree with Nick that I've said it before. It's just more motivation. He's already got the three-peat. He's already got Brady winning 7 Super Bowls. Now you add this to it. He already feels like he had a bad year that wasn't any fun last year. Now he's got some speed demons on the sidelines that can run up the field. So I think it's all going to add up to him winning the MVP and having a phenomenal individual year.
Real question, because I think he's going to dominate as well. What is the number one question about Mahomes' upcoming season? Because I went through all the big quarterbacks. They all have kind of glaring question marks. Is Joe Burrow going to be healthy? Is Josh going to miss Stephon? Is Lamar going to kind of have to shake off the ghosts of the postseason?
Oh.
Outside of having his worst statistical year, which we largely blame on the wide receivers, what do you think the number one question or challenge in the way of Mahomes is?
Do you have an answer there?
I honestly don't.
I think I definitively know. Can the Chiefs still beat you over the top? Because when the year before this, the first year without Tyreek Hill, when they were the number one scoring offense, number one in yards, it was dink and dunk. Now, it was death by 1,000 cuts. He set the all-time record for total yards in a season. But he had 28 touchdown passes to tight ends or running backs. All those stats that the stupid Twitter accounts were putting up Mahomes in the last 35 games, like depth of target, all that stuff has been crazy low. Now, 2 years ago, they scored the most points in football despite it. Last year, they weren't scoring points, and it was dink and dunk, and they won defense and smart quarterback play. The question is, if there is one, can he still put on a light show?
But
like Bruce talking
Worthy
about?
and Hollywood Brown answer that?
That's what I think is going to happen. If teams go too high and stop them from going deep, I don't know if that's what they'll do initially. He'll just hit you underneath.
Yes.
And then they'll have to come up and play, and then that's when Worthy and Hollywood Brown will be able to go deep. So it's going to be pick your poison.
I mean, to be clear, I don't think there is a massive question, but I'm saying if there is one, that's it. And I think the longer-term question is, are they – we'll see. It doesn't, to me, look like Rashee Rice is getting suspended this year. I think he eventually will, but I think it's going to be after the legal,
it's got to get settled.
Yeah, after it gets settled. I think the longer-term question is there going someone in this core, whether it's Rice, Worthy, Hollywood, become a go-to option if Travis Kelce in a year hangs it up? You know what I mean? Does that get developed while Travis is still there? I think those are the questions, but they're good problems to have.
Okay.
Champagne.
Unlike this, which is not a good problem. It's incredibly concerning and, I mean, a growing trend.
I'm surprised we don't have the breaking news bar on here because Brock Purdy threw 2 interceptions in practice. Well, yes, he wasn't having a perfect practice. He's on the record of saying he wants to experiment a bit in practice, but he seems to be experimenting, Brew, with throwing the ball to the defense. Brew, when is it time to panic?
Well, according to Nick Wright's favorite reporter, this is what Brock Purdy does. Look at Grant Cohn. This is his quote from an article this week, earlier this week. Brock Purdy always, and you see he's Nick's favorite reporter. That's like his title. Brock Purdy always throws lots of interceptions in training camp. That's what he did last year, and that's what he has done this year. Well, how did last year go after all those training camp interceptions? He threw for, let's see, more yards than Joe Montana and Steve Young had ever thrown for.
Right.
Wow.
He led the league in passer rating, and he led them to the Super Bowl, and even had great comebacks and had the lead when he left the field in the Super Bowl. So, no, it is not time to pick. This is what he does. He experiments. He sees what he can get away with, what he can't get away with. And to answer your question, when would it be time to panic? And this is early. But if in the first 2 games against the Jets and then the Saints, he goes out and throws like 7 interceptions in losses.
I mean,
hold on. That's the number you love.
7.
5. 5 losses.
4.
I mean,
4 would be concerning.
Really?
2 and 2,
I
yes.
should panic if he throws 4
3
interceptions. Did I panic in the middle of last year
honestly,
where he had those
3.
horrible games?
I'm going down to 3.
He threw 4 against Baltimore on Christmas Day.
Yes.
That's Christmas.
Was it panic time?
Yes.
They got to the Super Bowl.
Well, so listen, I'm really glad Brew is now validating and giving credibility to Grant Cohn, because I don't know, Brew, if you read Grant's latest article from last night about 12 days of training camp. It was the 12th day of training camp, and we can show you what Grant Cohn wrote. Brock Purdy threw his 11th and 12th interception of training camp. Purdy is an excellent quarterback for the 49ers.
Why do you read that so quickly?
Okay,
11th and 12th interception. Person an excellent quarterback for the 49ers.
I'll start over.
I mean, you know how he did that?
I'll start over.
I got to pick up tails, too.
Threw his 11th and 12th interception of training camp. Purdy is an excellent quarterback for the 49ers when he has an all-star cast. But today, he didn't have Trent Williams, Brandon Ayuk, or Christian McCaffrey, and as a result, he wasn't special. So here, and by the way, again, I wasn't even going to use that, but because I didn't know where you felt on his significance in the media landscape, but since you had a Sports Illustrated quote ready, I figured I would meet you with one of my own. Here's the other thing. You can't use and you didn't, but for the audience, the excuse of, well, this Niners defense. The guy who picked him off has 38 career defensive snaps. Both picks. He's a special teamer who's he's going to make the team, but trying to get a role on the defense. Hufanga obviously isn't playing yet. Greenlaw obviously isn't playing yet. But more notably for Brock is his guys who are not playing. He doesn't have his full cast, and it's led to bad days. I would just say 12 days of training camp, 12 interceptions.
So he throws one a day?
Yeah, how many passes do you think he's throwing in 11 on 11? It's not more than 9 or 10.
If he wakes up in the morning, drives to the facility, puts on his uniform, does a weight room, has his meals, has his meetings, and throws one interception and drives home, I don't know if he's like, wow, bad day.
Okay, so you think that 12 interceptions up to this point in camp is above average, like league average right now?
I don't know what everybody's
I think it's
running.
above average.
Yes, okay, thank you.
But I think he was probably above average last year.
Yes.
And how that worked out.
I understand that it did work out well.
Even with
but
the
he's
Avengers,
not going to have that same full cast. He's not. And it's just.
But did he have them in training camp last year when
he's not playing against the 49ers, I don't think.
That's true, too.
Okay, but do you think the Niners have the best defense in the NFL?
No, I just think
you got it. What? Well, then we shouldn't listen.
Don't say it.
I mean, yesterday when I said he had an excellent practice, which he did, it was poo-poo.
It wasn't poo-poo.
It was practice, but who cares, bro?
When Daniel Jones is throwing bombs, everyone's like, well, whatever. Whatever. Daniel Jones stinks, and Malik Neighbors looks to be good, but we don't really care. But if this guy gets a tipped ball interception, we're like, wow.
But that's not what it was. They weren't tipped ball interceptions. They were again, I don't think it's everything. But to act like it's nothing, I just think it's something. If it's something or nothing, it's something.
I'm going to take the 21 regular season games he's played, plus the 6 playoff games. As more evidence.
Glass half
like
empty view of the 49ers. CMC has an achy calf. Ayuk looks to be gone, but we're not officially there yet. Trent Williams holding out, and Purdy's throwing an interception a day. It's almost like an apple.
An apple. Yeah, it's except the opposite. Yeah.
They're also looking at the old Super Bowl hangover, bro. Yeah. Year after losing the Super Bowl, well, it usually doesn't go well. Most recently, supernatural funk. Are you starting to be concerned?
I'm a little concerned. And I don't think it'll be a supernatural funk.
No.
But what I'm concerned about are the injuries with them. Because if they lose Ayuk, he's still on the team right now. We'll see what happens. But I said it yesterday, like, first of all, there's vibes with Ayuk wanting out and Trent Williams wanting money, right? And he's 36 years old. So that's a little funky. And then Debo misses a couple games a year. McCaffrey already has a calf. I don't want to make too much out of the calf, But he's had an injury history, before he got to San Francisco. And to be honest, if you had asked me when he got traded to the Niners, was he going to play like every game since he's been there? Because he hasn't missed a game.
Yeah, he has not missed a game.
Right. I would have been like, no, he'll miss a game or two.
Yeah, of course.
But he hasn't. So he's 28 years old, I believe. So is he, will his history catch up with him and him be injured? And if Debo and McCaffrey go down, I just think injuries could fail them. Definitely a contender, but they're not guaranteed to be my pick in the NFC.
So this is my.
So I just think I don't know if it'll be a funk. I don't think it'll be a funk.
No.
But I just think injuries and other things could.
So this is where I'm conflicted, Wilds, because my obligation is to the audience.
Yeah, of course.
And to be honest, but I really want Brew to pick the Niners to go to the Super Bowl. I think it's good for the show. I want it to happen. And so I don't want. He can
Green
pick Philly.
Bay?
He can pick Philly.
Detroit?
Yeah.
Pick Detroit.
I don't think I'm not leaning Philly this right now.
Okay, well, so I guess
it's probably between those three
Dallas
teams.
is there for you.
The Niners, the Packers, the Lions. Those are the
Why don't you leave the Lions alone? Leave me alone.
So just hold on. So I don't want to present this open and shut case that, of course, you should be concerned about Super Bowl hangover. However, I owe the audience honesty, which is basically every NFC Super Bowl loser for the last decade has suffered one. You might be like, why NFC than AFC? And the answer is basically because the AFC Super Bowl losers have had it's Mahomes, Brady, all-time quarterbacks associated with them. Burrow, I don't know if he's all-time, but you know what I mean? Great. Right. The NFC, maybe Purdy's going to be that, I don't know, but he's not of that ilk yet. So the last NFC team to lose the Super Bowl and the next year have a great season was Harbaugh's Niners, who got to the NFC.
Get back, right.
No, but they got to
the last one to get back was 1974.
Right, correct. But I would think that Harbaugh Niners team that lost in the Super Bowl to Baltimore and then got to the final play of the NFC Championship game. That's the famous Richard Sherman, Michael Crabtree, Darren Andrews moment. Like, that was a great season, an excellent team, came up just short. So there's that. There's also the fact that the Trent Williams thing gets more concerning for them by the day because he's one of the only players in the league to hold out for 8 weeks in his career. With Washington, he was like, no, I'm just not showing up. I'll take all the fines. I'll miss all the checks. I'm doing it on principle. So of any player in the league who you're like, wait, this might go on, he's probably the #1 draft pick because he has a history showing you would do it. Sure. I believe Ayuk's off
line isn't that good.
Right. I believe Ayuk's all but off the team. It's just not official yet. And if we were to put a grade on Brock Purdy's training camp, I think it's probably a C. I don't think it's an A at this point. I don't think it's an F. So, yeah, I think you should be concerned. But I desperately want him to pick them to go to the Super Bowl. So I hope Brock has an amazing camp.
I might just not pick them just
don't do that. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.